Lies and Deceit. I might actually read a book about that someday as well. I didn't actually read 40 books this month. I only read 4. And today we are going to talk about those books. A few years back, I used to read a lot of books, but for some reasons I just stopped. I really don't know why I stopped, but I just stopped sometime in the middle. But this year I'm on a mission to read about 70 to 80 books, or maybe at least 40 books this year. So I started this month with reading just 4. The 4 I read, I'm going to take you through one by one. And I guess let's just begin. The first ever book I read this month was this one, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, this is the first book I read. I know this book is a bit of a meme in the like internet culture, and you're going to say, "Oh, one more guy reading The Art of War." But I really think this book has a lot to offer if you are willing to look into it. If you are able to look past the sort of grim theme it has, which is grim, I mean, it's literally talking about war and how to kill people and conquer kingdoms. If you're looking to look past that, I feel like this book has a great, I feel this book has a great a lot of deal to offer in the sense of leadership, in the sense of discipline, and it teaches you a lot of discipline and things about leadership as well, and not just leadership in wars, like leadership in any situation. I mean, if you are in office, if you are running a business, or if you are leading a ton of people, or if you are a supervisor for a team, I think this book will teach you a lot regarding that. I have seen a lot of memes about the book, and to be honest, going into it, I was a little bit skeptical of how the book is going to be. I mean, I definitely knew it was about war. I mean, it says it on the title, but I was a little bit skeptical on how to think about it and how to like judge the book properly. That's what I'm mostly thinking about when I read a book, on how I can put myself into the perspective of the writer. And I really started to get into the book about halfway in chapter 5, Energy. And I think this is the line that really got me hooked. Simulated disorder postulates perfect discipline. Simulated fear postulates courage. Simulated weakness postulates strength. So I think in today's day and age, we are really seeing a lot of influencers on the internet, and where they are like, you have to be disciplined about stuff, and you have to like follow a routine and all that. And I think this really sums it up very well. If you really think about it, discipline is just you organizing the chaos around you, and it's nothing more than that. It's just a part of the chaos around you that is already there. One of the other lines that I really like from the book goes like this: if a general shows confidence in his men but always insists on his order being obeyed, the gain will be mutual. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are a film director and you are directing a film, and you have a specific image of that film and how you want to portray the film in your mind. That doesn't mean you're not going to listen to anyone around you. You will still listen to them, but at the end of the day, you're going to be like, I have this vision and I want it to be fulfilled a certain way that I want. It's basically the same principle that Sun Tzu is telling here in his book as well. So, all and all, I don't really want to give you any spoilers for the book, if you can call it spoilers for this book, but yeah, I would really encourage you to read it. And when you're reading it, keep in mind that you are reading it not to learn about wars, but to learn about leadership and how you lead a bunch of people. And I think this book will be really, really helpful for you. I mean, if we are doing a book review, might as well just do a tier list. For this book specifically, I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea. I think not many people are going to be able to get that much out of this book if they are not an avid reader, or if they don't read books regularly. And I don't think it will be for everyone, so I am really going to put it in A tier. It would have been an S, but I'm judging it in all of aspects, so I think I'm going to put this book in A tier. The second the second book I read this month was The Hobbit. Oh, you can't see it. The Hobbit. Now, let me start this off by saying I am a big, big fan of Lord of the Rings, and I have watched the Lord of the Rings movie countless amount of times, and also The Hobbit. I am a very big fan of Hobbit as well, and that whole universe, and I absolutely, absolutely love it. And I had big, big hopes going into this book that I'm going to absolutely love it. Now, after reading it, well, let's just say my review of it is going to be kind of spicy. And if you really, really like these books, I would recommend you skip ahead. Let's start this off by something I really, really like about the book, and that is that it's a very, very easy read. If you don't read many books, if you want to get into reading books, if you want to read the story book, if you want to read a story novel or something, I think this book, if you read it and pick it up, I think this book is going to be a very, very easy read. It's a little bit big for like a starter book, but I think if you like get into it and if you are really interested in this world uh, that they have created in the book, I think you are going to really, really enjoy the book. It's interesting. It keeps itself well paced, and I think most of the people here are going to enjoy this book. But I do have some things I really don't like about the book. I don't know if it's just me or the preferences of books that I mostly read. It probably is just me, but I really, really think that this book has some, no, I won't say issues, but some things I don't really like that much. Just I just was about to throw it. My biggest gripe about the book was how when you're reading it, it doesn't feel like it is a book for adults. And that's very weird. I understand what I said. Like that I get it, that's very weird, but it just feels a very childlike book. I'm not sure if that was the purpose of the book. It probably was if it's a storybook like this. But seeing the movies beforehand, before reading the books, I really didn't think the movies were that much suited for kids. I mean, kids can watch it, but I don't think it's that much tailored towards kids. That horn, that car horn outside my house just completely threw me off. The book to me felt very checkpointy. Let me explain what I mean. When you are reading the book, it had a very, very clear pattern, and the pattern was Bilbo goes through a journey. They reach a point, a checkpoint basically. They rest for a few days, they go. They do a little bit of adventure, they rest for a bit, and then they go. They do a little bit of rest, they go on an adventure. And due to that, when I was reading it and when I started to figure out that this was the pattern the book was following, it really started to throw me off the book when I started to really, really notice it. And while I was reading it, it was just constantly in my mind that it's gonna follow this pattern, and that really threw me off the book, and that really made me feel like the book really didn't have a good flow. I get it. I get why the writer would have done that. I think probably the reason was to keep it very balanced, to not make it very gung ho where everything is just happening all at once. I get that, but to me, I didn't really quite like that. Again, that could just be my personal preferences, but yeah, the book really, really felt to me like that. But again, if you want to get into books, I think this would be a very, very, very good pick. If it's big for you and you want to start with something short, that's completely fine. But if you don't have a problem reading a little bit of a bigger book, it's not that big, but for a new reader it might seem like it. I think this would be a very, very good pick. And for the tier list rating for this book, ah, you guys are probably, internet is not going to like me for this, but I think I'm going to put it below The Art of War, and it's going to be in B tier, just because it wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really like the flow of the book that much. But the book itself, the story itself is absolutely amazing. I still am in love, love, love with the movies and the trilogies, both of the trilogies. But yeah, the book wasn't really quite for me. The third book I read this month was Dune by Frank Herbert. So I don't really have the book on me because listen to it. I listen to the audiobook version, and that counts, okay? That fucking counts. I know you all gatekeeping out here which say like listening to books don't count. It does fucking count. I don't really have the book. I'm going to buy it in the future just to have it in my collection, but I'm just using my art book to show it because I just want to hold something in my hands while I talk about it. So, this book I have a lot and a lot of praises for. Like, god damn, this book was good. This is also one of those cases where I saw the movie before. I didn't really know about the book before the movie. I saw the recent movie that came out and I saw some reviews on the books, and the world just seemed really, really interesting to me in the movie. And I decided to pick it up this month. Cars again, man. Just let me review my book. So where was I? Yeah, I was talking about how I absolutely loved the world of the like movie, and I decided to pick up the book this year, and I just listened to it while doing my stuff, going to the gym and all that, and I just listened to the book, and it is so good. I can't I can't preface this enough. This book is absolutely amazing. The ideas it has, all the unique perspectives it gives you, and just everything. I am a big fanboy of Frank Herbert now and Dune. Like, I am absolutely a big fanboy, and I really think that the movies did this book real like justice as well. I was thinking where like once I read the book, I won't really appreciate the movie that much, but I really think they did it justice. They did miss a few points, but this isn't really a review of the movie, it's a review for the book. And this book is absolutely amazing. I The mind of Frank Herbert and how he wrote this book is absolutely beautiful. The ideas that are in this book are never before seen, and I really think that what Frank Herbert did in this book is a very unique thing. I read the first three parts. I didn't really read the Children of Dune books, um, and God Emperor of Dune and all that. I will read that someday as well, but I don't intend to right now. But from the start of this book to the absolute end, everything this book does is extremely unique, and for that time as well. From the idea of Bene Gesserit, from the Kwisatz Haderach, and the technology the world has, how the world is built, and everything about this book is very unique. It's so good. Like, when I was reading the book or listening to it, and I just kept falling in love with it over and over again, I thought when I will finally review it, I will have a lot to say about the book. But now that I am actually reviewing the book, I have nothing to say about the book. I just have to say one thing. If you haven't read Dune, you have to read Dune once in your lifetime. You will not regret it, and I think this is such a good adventure book, or a novel if you can call it, and everything it does is extremely fun, extremely unique. All the ideas and everything. I probably have said this like a few times now that everything is unique, but it really is. You have to trust me on this, and you have to give Dune a try. You can just start with just the first book, and I'm sure you're gonna be hooked, and you're gonna like read the other two books have which I call the main story, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it. And all I can say is just just try it, man. I mean, I my words can't do it justice. Just try the book. And of course, you already know for the ranking of this book is going to be in S tier for me because I am absolutely in love with this book and the whole world and the world building that Frank Herbert does. I'm absolutely in love with that. So yeah, this book is going to be in S tier for me. The fourth book I read this month was Sapien. Well, I didn't really quite read it this month because I am still halfway through it. But I think my thoughts aren't going to change about this book when I complete it as well. So might as well include it in this as well. I have a thing where if I'm really liking the book, I start going through it very slowly, and I only read like a few pages a day. And that is what's happening with this book. I mean, what a great author. Not just in his writing and his knowledge, but how he takes a topic and completely expands it and then collapses it all at once while you are reading the book. And how he explores everything in such intricate details, and it's absolutely amazing. Again, as I said, I am only halfway through the book, but like in that halfway point, the concepts it has like taught me, the things it has taught me, and the absolute like waterfall of information that this book has is so good. I thought when I heard about this book, I really thought that it wasn't going to be in this much detail. I don't know why I thought that. I thought it's going to be just a like general knowledge kind of book which gives you some few like general knowledge points. And when I read it, like I was so wrong. A child can read this book, and I really think a child can understand this book as well, how the writer puts it so easily and in such understandable words. An adult can read this book. A person like studying this stuff, studying history, can read this book. This book is so like this book is so surprisingly easy to read. I mean, if you look at the topics in this book, they are not like easy topics, but how the writer explains those themes and those topics, and how he slowly builds them up one by one. And like in this book, all of the points he discusses, he makes sure to drive them home, and he makes sure that you understand what he's talking about. And in this book, he explains it in such different perspectives and from a point of view of many different people, and how our world was built, and how the society that we live in right now, society guys, uh, I am a child, how the society we live in came into being, and how the ideas that we live by right now were formed over thousands of years. This book is also a very must read for everyone. I think if you really want to understand, I mean, wait a second. Yeah, let's hear it in the words of Bill Gates himself, which is in front of the book. I would recommend Sapiens to anyone who's interested in the history and future of our species. And that is literally what I was going to say. I would recommend this to everyone who is even remotely interested in learning about what we are and how we came to being, and how our cultures and how the world we live in has been built, if you even have a slightest bit of curiosity about yourselves. And for the tier ranking of this book, I am going to put this book as well in S tier. So that will be it for January's book review, recommendations, whatever you want to call it. But before ending the video, I want to start something. I am going to read books throughout the year, and I don't want to read them alone. I would love if you guys read with me as well. So I'm going to start a little bit of a book club, and at the end of the month, we can discuss it in comments, or maybe I will also make a Discord server for discussing books as well. But at the end of the month, I will make a video on the books, and we are going to review them and talk about them together. For this month, I'm not really sure what books I am going to read, but I have three that I'm going to read for sure, and I am going to tell you those books, and you're going to read them with me. And at the end of the month, when I review them, we'll have a discussion about them in the comments, or I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it right now, but yeah, this month we are going to read. First book is this, The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. I am not sure if you pronounce it Camus or Cam. I don't know. But yeah, The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. This is the book I'm going to read this month. I am already actually halfway through it. I'm going to complete it tonight. But this book is a little bit of a tougher read for newer like book readers. So if you're a new book reader, I won't recommend this book. But if you are not a new reader, uh, you're going to enjoy this book a lot. It's philosophy, and the next book that we are going to read is Notes from the Underground by Fyodor I am not even going to be able to pronounce that, but here you can see it up on the screen. It's not Notes from the Underground. I'm not going to pronounce the name of the writer because I don't know how to, and I don't want to butcher it. But this is the other book that we are going to read this month, and at the end of the month again, when I review them, we'll have a discussion about them. And the third book that I'm pretty sure that we are going to read this month, I am going to read this month, is The Stranger from Albert Camus as well. Again, if I'm butchering the name, I'm so sorry. So the third book we are going to read is Albert Camus's The Stranger. And yeah, these are going to be the three books that we are going to read this month. And at the end of the month, I hope some of you have read these books with me, and I will love to have a discussion with you guys in the comments as well. So for this video, I will put them in the description, and for this video, that will be it from my side. And yeah, I will see you guys maybe in the middle of the month with another video, but at the end of the month, definitely with another book review. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye bye.